Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today we'll be tracking the possibility for a major winter storm that can happen across portions of Texas, eastern New Mexico, maybe even getting into portions of southern Arkansas, Mississippi, maybe eventually getting into Louisiana, and even across eastern New Mexico as well. These will be the areas to watch for the possibility for this what could be a major winter storm here, especially across portions of Texas, which we'll take a look over some models. We'll also take a look at the National Weather Service snowfall forecast and also the Weather Prediction Center's severity index forecast and also my snowfall forecast as well. So let's go to get started with the HER model with this. And this could be starting tomorrow. And you can see here it actually starts for portions of New Mexico, Oklahoma, and southeastern Colorado. For you guys, it starts tonight, as you can see here, with some of the snow, especially going into those higher elevations across some of those regions there. And then, as we kind of move on to the overnight hours, you can see here across southeastern New Mexico and also western Texas as well, showing that bands of some moderate to heavy snow. Meanwhile, across the Texas Panhandle and also the Oklahoma Panhandle and southwestern Kansas are experiencing some light snow out of this there as well. And as we kind of continue on throughout the time frame, this is getting into Sunday morning, and the HER model showing some widespread moderate to heavy snow across west central Texas, eventually getting into central Texas as well. And this may eventually affect places like Lubbock, Abilene, Dallas possibly, and also Fort Worth as well. And as we kind of continue on, you can see it then that heavy snow band really starts to increase in coverage as it starts to enter eastern Texas. And then eventually, which this ball spinning out times, very heavy snow across portions of Louisiana there with some of those pink colors within the dark blues. That just indicates very heavy snow. And then it gets into southern Arkansas, even getting into Mississippi, and it's going to continue to move to the northeast. But unfortunately, for places like northern Alabama, Tennessee, even into Kentucky, this storm unfortunately looks to be dying down before it gets to those areas. Although some have also been going kind of back and forth where we could see a good swath of snow or maybe not much of anything. Which the HER model says the possibility is there, even though it does not go that far out. But you still got a healthy swath of just moderate to heavy snow, just indicated by the HER model. And what I've heard, or when I looked up on the internet, the only snow plows in Texas are actually kind of in northern Texas here. Meanwhile, a good portion of Texas here, there's no snowplow. So this is going to be a big concern for some of those roads. Those interstates are going to be quite dangerous there as well. So this is going to be a big concern for those roads. They could be quite treacherous across Texas where snowplows are not around. And I'm pretty sure northern Louisiana doesn't have snowplows either. And I think that may be the same way for portions of Mississippi. I'm not 100% sure about Arkansas, but for some of these regions here where they could expect a lot of snow, they are not going to have any snowplows. So this is going to be kind of a major concern here is where we don't have any snowplows, so those roads are going to be very slick out there. So this is going to be kind of a little bit of a situation there where we're not going to have snowplows. Although you may get some snowplows from other states to go to some of these other regions, but it's not really going to be enough, which is going to be the biggest concern. So if we're going to be traveling on some of these roads tomorrow and even into Sunday and into Monday, got to be very careful out there. I would not recommend driving. Just drive if you have to drive out there because some of these roads, a lot of these roads are not going to be treated by salt trucks out there. So let's take a look to the snowfall forecast by the HER, which had done a decent job of the North Carolina winter storm, although it was kind of a bust, especially for Asheville. For the folks in Asheville, I feel sorry for you guys over there because some of you guys saw zero snowfall at all. However, if you go northeast of Asheville and southwest, some of this area is actually verified with some isolated spots 5 to 8 inches. So that's kind of odd that how Asheville kind of got left out, but that's just very unfortunate there. But going back to this storm here, you can see here now this is quite a widespread look. You got widespread 5 to 8 inches of snow. Now, don't get really too pumped up with some of these totals here. I think the better chance of seeing these snowfall totals will be across western Texas. We still have uncertainties right in here. And this model spinning out 5 to 8 inches of snow across northern Louisiana. Do I think you guys can see that much? I don't really think so, but there could still be enough snow to cause some issues out there. So we'll be paying attention to this closely. Also, there's kind of this little area here, not as much snow. They're kind of in between some of this healthy snowfall totals. So there's another uncertainty area right here. There as well. So places like in central and eastern Texas, northern Louisiana, even getting into southern Arkansas, maybe to portions of Mississippi. There's still some uncertainties in the forecast here, and it seems like most people are going to go to the low end snowfall mountain way, but we're going to see what the trends are going to go towards. And we're still about 48 hours away for some of these areas to get into the snow, so we're going to see about that. Let me show you guys another decent model here, and this is the high-risk Canadian. And as you can see, it has a really good swath of 5 to possibly 8 inches of snow across a good chunk of Texas, west central Texas, even east central Texas, and even getting into portions of Louisiana. And we're going to see about this one again. Still some absurdities here, but this model also did do a decent job with the last of it as well. So there's a little bit about it with the models for right now, but we're going to see. Meanwhile, across the panhandle of Texas, possibly anywhere from a coating to 3 inches. Eastern New Mexico, that's going to be a hard area to forecast, especially for some of those higher elevations. Higher elevations could see up to 5, 6 inches of snow. Meanwhile, those lower elevations probably will see maybe a coating to possibly 3 inches of snow. So that's going to be a kind of a tough area to forecast, but because of those higher elevations there as well. You can see by the high-risk Canadian. Then you look later down the road, northern Mississippi, anywhere from a coating to possibly 2 inches of snow, maybe even getting into portions of northwestern Alabama, which could also see a coating to an inch of snow. And going off the screen there, south central Tennessee could also see a coating to an inch of snow there as well. We're going to see. We still have some absurdities over down that way. This is the NAM. This is a little bit aggressive here for some of these regions. You can see here it shows again a general 5 to maybe 8 inches of snow. It's even got some areas showing up to 10 inches of snow, especially across east central not Tennessee, Texas. And again, high uncertainty area. And don't go too crazy with some of your snowfall totals because it's going to change some more. But we do have a really good agreement of it's just the 5 to 8 inches across of west central Texas and maybe even into portions of central Texas there as well. And it's also a lot more snow across Kentucky, Tennessee, and even into northern Mississippi there as well. You can see later down the road it's a general 1 to 3 inches there. But it could be a little bit of an outlier with that, could be a little bit overdone with that. It's kind of trended towards a little bit more moisture and also a little bit possibly a little bit more of a stronger system. The problem with this here is for areas later down the road, again, it's going to be dying down as it moves to the northeast. There'll be something going on in the atmosphere that'll be keeping the thing, dying or whatever there as well. So it's very unfortunate for some of these regions here, although the name's your friend right now. So, but we're going to see the name is not really a great model by any means here. Meanwhile, across the panhandle of Texas and even to Oklahoma, anywhere from possibly a coating to maybe 4 inches of snow. In the same way, like I said, by the highest Canadian, pretty much a pretty good spread of pretty much 0 to 6 inches of snow in those higher elevations. So that's the NAM. Let's look into the high res NAM with this. Now, this is a little bit interesting here about the high res NAM. It still does show generally a 5 to maybe 7 inches of snow here across west central Texas, even get into central Texas there, which is a little bit interesting here. This is probably one of the lower end models, which I'm surprised. Typically, this model here could overdo totals, but this is kind of a little bit surprising that this is the model that is the lowest with amounts. But look across northern Louisiana. It's got some areas picking up to possibly up to 5 inches of snow across some of these ridges here, right in here, which is a little bit interesting there. Eventually getting into northern Mississippi, possibly 1 to 3 inches, possibly a coating an inch into portions of Tennessee into Kentucky. Texas Panhandle, really anywhere from coating to possibly 4 inches of snow. Similar situation for the Oklahoma Panhandle. Probably overdoing some of these snowfall amounts across some of these higher elevations here. It's trying to spit out some areas could see up to 10 to a foot of snow, but it typically overdoes those snowfall amounts at those higher elevations there as well. So just to keep in mind of that. And let's look into the original Canadian. And pretty similar to what most other models are showing. Pretty widespread, 5 to 8 inches of snow, west central Texas into central Texas and into eastern Texas, possibly into northern Louisiana. Portions of Mississippi generally looks like a coating to possibly 2 inches of snow. Portions of Arkansas could see a coating to an inch of snow. Panhandle of Texas anywhere from a coating to possibly 3 inches. Similar way for the Oklahoma Panhandle. And pretty much the same, similar situation like I've said on most of other models in those higher elevations across eastern New Mexico. Lower elevations might not see much, but those higher elevations could possibly see up to 6 inches of snow here as well. And moving on to the European model, which is just now updating, so this is a fresh new run. This is what its thoughts on with the situation. Get a very large area of 5 to 8 inches of snow across central and western Texas. It's also got another area of 5 to 8 inches of snow across northern Louisiana. Do I think that's going to verify? Probably not. That's probably going to be overdone. It's also showing some higher amounts getting into central Mississippi with 1 to possibly 4 inches of snow. Meanwhile, some areas probably won't see nothing there. Now, it's a little bit underdone, possibly for New Mexico, especially those higher elevations, showing a general 1 to 4 inches of snow across those regions there as well, and possibly a coating to an inch, getting into portions of northern Alabama, and eventually getting to southern Tennessee there as well. So that's all the models. So basically, the general agreement here is central and western Texas looking to be the bullseye at this point with 5 to 8 inches of snow. Still got uncertainties here and also here, and also some uncertainties later down the road, when you get into the Tennessee Valley. We also got a pretty decent agreement across these regions here as well. Lower elevations might not get to see much across eastern New Mexico, but those higher elevations could possibly see up to 6 inches of snow. Meanwhile, the Panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma could be anywhere from a coating to 3 inches. So that's kind of the general forecast for right now. And then as we get into the National Weather Service office's forecast, and again with that bullseye, more than likely going to be across west central Texas with a general 5 to 8 inches of snow. Those higher elevations are actually quite high, decently high, 5 to 8 inches of snow at those higher elevations. Meanwhile, the lower elevations probably 1 to 3 inches. But this is where the high uncertainty comes into, which we do have winter storm watches even across northern Louisiana. How about that? Which I'll pull up that watch warning map in just a moment. But generally speaking, 1 to 2 inches of snow, and you've seen most of the models are generally higher. See the European model 5 to 8 inches, the Canadian 1 to 5, the high risk NAM generally 2 to 5 inches. The NAM is also really generally 1 to 4 inches. The high risk Canadian is generally 1 to possibly 5 inches, and a her model is 5 to 8. So generally speaking here, probably on an average here by the models, especially across northern Louisiana and maybe getting into portions of Texas, by the models, it's 3 to 5 inches, just an average here. But the National Reserve offices have 1 to 2 inches with some isolated hot spots there. We're going to see about this. They may go up on totals, but keep in mind there is a winter storm watch in place for some of those regions here. If they do get a winter storm warning, it's going to be for 4+ inches of snow. But the chances are there that northern Louisiana could see a winter storm. The possibility is there, which northern Louisiana, it doesn't happen often to get a winter storm. Something like this here. So we'll be watching northern Louisiana. There's still some uncertainty with that. And then this is the Weather Prediction Center. Areas in the red, this is major impacts indicated by the Weather Prediction Center. You even got a little spot there as well. And you can see here, here's your chart down here. Areas in yellow, that is minor impacts. Areas in light blue, that's just limited impacts, which is far north as getting to southern Kentucky there. Areas in the orange, moderate impacts, and we don't have extreme impacts in place there. So, but I don't think we're going to have extreme impacts. I think the axis could be in the major territory, which this here may expand in time. Areas in the red here, this may expand a little bit more across western Texas, but we're going to see about that. But they do have east central Texas and eventually getting into northern Louisiana in moderate impacts. So that's a little bit interesting to note there as well. So let me show you guys those hazards right now. So here you go. Areas in this dark blue, these are winter storm watches, which does include portions of Louisiana, even to a county in southern Arkansas. Areas in the pink here, these are winter storm warnings. And then areas in the purple, in the Texas Panhandle, portions of eastern uh, New Mexico, western Oklahoma, southwestern Kansas, and also southeastern Colorado, those are winter weather advisories there. But again, we're areas in the dark blue here. We gotta watch for this. These areas here do have the chance to see winter storm impacts here. The possibility is there. Don't be surprised that some of these areas here do get upgraded to winter storm warnings. Some areas, not all of these. There's a good chance that these areas will be upgraded, but some of these areas could just get upgraded to or downgrade to winter weather advisories. So we'll be watching that closely. Do I think this winter storm watch could get expanded to the Northeast? It's a possibility, but we're going to see about this here. We'll see if models do trade higher amounts across these regions here. We're still watching for this region here, but if they don't get a winter storm watch, it'll more likely just be an advisory event there as well. Here's my forecast here, and so areas in a dark blue, this is where I indicate for you guys to see over 5 inches of snow, potentially. Now, I still have some uncertainties across east central Texas here. There's still a big question mark for some of those regions there. We'll be watching that closely there. But I made to upgrade these regions right here to 5 to 8 inches of snow. There could be some isolated hot spots here and there. We'll be watching for that. Then in the mountains of New Mexico here, which I probably would expand. I don't know the geography that well in New Mexico, so this is just kind of a rough draft here. So, but in the mountains of central and eastern New Mexico, those areas could receive 3 to 5 inches of snow. But in those low elevations, some may see under 1 inch of snow. I think it'd be generally a coating to 3 inches of snow in those lower elevations there. And a little bit similar situation for the mountains up across Colorado, 1 to 3 inches, although there will be some hot spots up there, of course. And that's what the areas in the light blue is, which it does expand into central Mississippi with 1 to 3 inches. Then a coating to 1 inch of snow seems like a possibility for northern Mississippi to northwest Alabama into central Tennessee, which does include Nashville there as well. So areas across Midland, possibly Odessa, still a big question there. Abilene and Lubbock, Texas there as well. You guys definitely need to watch out for the snow here. Just to keep in mind that Dallas and Fort Worth, you guys are kind of on the edge with this here. Your guys are kind of on the edge and maybe not getting much snow or getting a lot of snow. Still some uncertainties here. Similar way with Austin, Texas here. Your guys are on the edge of getting a lot of snow and on the edge of probably getting nothing. Houston, Texas, unfortunately, you guys probably won't expect any snow, although we cannot rule out a few snowflakes. Could be a possibility across portions of Houston, maybe across Beaumont, but we're going to see about that. New Orleans, Mobile, Pensacola, you guys won't receive any snowflakes, unfortunately. Here, which I'm sure you guys may like to see some snowflakes, but I don't think that's going to happen. Places like Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, you guys could see a few snowflakes that could fly by. Could be mainly a wintry mix with a mix of rain and snow, but accumulations are not going to be expected. Huntsville, Alabama, for some of you guys, may able probably will see some snow flying, but accumulations is still a question. I have you guys on the edge of a coating to an inch of snow there as well. We'll be watching that. Memphis is kind of on the edge on a cutting in 1 inch. You guys could probably see a few snowflakes could fly by, but accumulations are still a question. So just keep in mind that. Amarillo, Texas, I think you guys will generally see 1 to 3 inches there as well. Now, there some changes could be made to this forecast, and one change I'll probably most likely make is upgrade this region right here, which I may move it a little bit north to the 5 to 8 inch range. But there was likely going to be some hot spots of over 8 inches. That's also a possibility there as well. But again, this is going to be beginning later tomorrow across some of these regions here, mainly New Mexico and also Western Texas. Your guys' event will probably be starting sometime tomorrow, and then eventually get into Louisiana, Texas, Central and Eastern Texas, and eventually get into Sunday and into Monday. And yeah, Monday for most of the time frame into Mississippi, and probably later day of Monday, possibly into Tuesday into the Tennessee Valley. But anyways, guys, this is Arc of you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you really do like my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, you can put in the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys' questions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.